Okay.
So, are you listening or are you just recording me?
I'm listening.
Hopefully. You bought this book.
Okay.
Okay. So, once upon a time, there was a wife and a husband.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like super poor, like incredibly poor.
Okay.
And they couldn't even have their daily bread because that's how poor they were. They had to have it like weekly bread.
Okay.
So, one day, the husband went out into the woods to go hunting, and he ran into the Virgin Mary. She just came down, presented herself to her, and she said, "Give me your child, I'll take care of her for you." Because the child was only 3 years old, and she could see that they were struggling enough to feed themselves. So he was like, "Okay, bet," you know? He got his kid, gave him to Virgin Mary, and then the kid grew up in heaven. Fast forward 11 years later, the kid is 14, and Mary says, "Okay, I have to make a long journey to earth. I have to leave heaven, so I'm going to leave you with 14 keys. All the keys open every door to heaven except for this key, smallest key. You cannot open the door that this key goes to. But you can't open it." So the little kid, she's like, "Okay, whatever." She opens all the other doors, and then she goes to the room that she's not supposed to open. And she's like talking to the other angels because she's supposed to be angels growing up. She was like, "What if I just put the key in the keyhole and then just look through the keyhole because I wouldn't have opened the door?" And they're like, "No, you probably shouldn't do that because that's still disobeying Virgin Mary." So she waits until the angels leave and she's alone with the door. And she's like, "I know who's going to know if I just take a quick look." So she puts the key in the door and the door just springs open. And inside is the Holy Trinity sitting in a ring of fire. And the girl is so impressed that she tries to touch it. And her finger turns gold from the fire. So she gets scared and she closes the door. And there's Mary comes. She's like, "Did you open the door?" The girl goes, "No." She looks at her finger and she's like, "Did you open the door?" The girl says, "No, I didn't open the door." Virgin Mary says, "Are you sure?" She says, "I didn't open the door." And the Virgin Mary said, "Well, I know you're lying, so liars can't be in heaven." She cast the girl down to earth, and she trapped her in a forest that was covered in thorns so she couldn't leave. And the girl spent a year here, and her hair grew long and she grew hungry. And then one day, when it was summertime, a king came, and he found her hiding in a tree, trying to stay warm. And he said, "Ah, you're so beautiful. Will you come to my kingdom?" But she couldn't speak, because when she left heaven, she lost her tongue. So she goes to his castle with him because she kind of likes him, and he falls absolutely in love with her, even though she can't speak. And so a year later, she's about 16, 17, she gave birth to her first baby. It was a boy. And when she gave birth, Virgin Mary came down and said, "Did you open that door? If you tell me the truth, I will give you your tongue back, but if you lie, I'm taking your kid." And she said, "I didn't open that door." So she took the little girl's kid, and the next morning when the king came, he couldn't find his kid. And people were like, "Oh my God, the wife, the queen, she's a man-eater, she ate her baby." And the king is like, "Nah, not my wife. And so a couple years later, she gave birth to another baby boy. Mary's like, "If you tell me the truth, I'll give you back your boy. If you don't, I'm taking this one too." And she says, "No, I didn't open the door." So she takes the boy, and everyone's like, "Oh, man-eater, she's eating her kids." And the king's like, "Oh, not my wife." So then she gives birth a couple years later. She's about 18, 19. She gives birth to a girl, and Mary's like, "Come here, hold on." She takes her to heaven, and her boys are playing, or she used to play when she was little. She was like, "Does this not soften your heart? Like, tell me the truth." She goes, "No, I didn't open the door." So Mary takes her daughter, and the king is like, "She's got to be eating kids because I had 3 and they're all gone." So he's like, "Well, I mean, if that's what it's got to take." So they put her on a stake, and they're going to set her on fire like a witch, right? And when the fire starts, she's surrounded by fire. She's getting scared. She's like, "If only I could repent. If only I could repent and say." And then all of a sudden, she gets her tongue back. She's like, "I did it. Open the door. And then all of a sudden, Virgin Mary comes down with all 3 of her kids. And she's like, "That's all you had to say. That's all you had to say." She gave her kids. And then she put out the fire. Holy rain came down. All the fire was extinguished. They let her go. She had her kids. And that was the end of the story.
Ah, what's the lesson of the story?
Repent, I guess. Tell the truth from the beginning.
Tell
All she had
the
to do was say
truth.
yes. Are you kidding me? I
Yeah.
would have said yes after my second kid.
Thank you for the story.